Good evening, you fantastic and glorious people of this floating rock that we call Earth. Welcome to Off the Wire. I'm your host, Joel Lynn, aka TCL. Tonight we have an absolutely special guest, RJ Evans, who touched the thermostats, makes some of the best political t-shirts you can ever find. I promise you, I've got an entire selection. And also very educated, and we're going to get into some spicy topics tonight. It's going to be electric. We're going to have a bunch of fun. So stay tuned, get in the comments, let's engage. It's going to be incredible. Let's bring RJ on right now.
Hey, bro.
My man, what's
Hey,
going
man.
on?
Hey, just another wonderful day.
Yeah, just another wonderful day, a psychotic news cycle that never seems to end.
News cycle. There's nothing going on. Literally nothing going on.
Nothing,
Twitter's been
nothing
dead.
going on.
Nothing going on. Not a
Yep,
thing.
yep, absolutely. It's just quiet as a mouse on
Yeah.
all forms of media. So, in an overall sense, what do you think about the state of the country, where we're headed? And without getting into the nuance, like I do quite often, being if you want to change anything, you're going to have to focus human to human, neighbor to neighbor,
Mm,
locally.
yeah.
What do you think about where we're headed? And do you think anything psychotic is about to come up for this election?
Well, overall, I mean, I look at everything on an individual level now. As I've grown through politics, I was raised in like a conservative Christian household. Um, but as I've educated myself, grown up, and everything, I've gotten more uh, anarcho capitalist and focusing on the
Yeah.
individual. I homeschool. We're looking at
Base,
purchasing a homestead. We,
base.
I've been cleaning up all of our diet and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, I make some of the best political T-shirts out there to get people talking. So, um, I really am looking at the world, and obviously, it's chaos. But uh, I think that a lot of people, obviously, there's a lot of people who pick sides, and either you're either going for Kamala, which you gotta be insane, or Trump, also
Yeah.
kind of insane, but it's a different flavor.
Less
And then
insane.
uh, you know, people you know put it all on red, put it all on blue, and it's like, all right, we need to backpedal. We need to figure something else out because you know if you're a fan of Donald Trump, or at least halfway, whatever, or at least or hate Kamala or whatever, we got to look at the future beyond November. So either Kamala wins, Trump wins. Now what do we do? What are we looking at? And to be honest with
Right.
you, we're we're approaching a fork in the road, and it's going to be very important on how we navigate that fork, because we're either going to go
Agreed.
down a totalitarian avenue, and it's going to be a downhill super slope, or we
So
can go the
given
other.
the well, go ahead. Sorry.
1 second, I'll wrap up. uh, or we can pick the other route of, like you said, looking at our neighbors, looking at our family, and really strengthening, building bonds, and preparing to st- draw a line in the sand, stand firm, and not don't budge an inch, and push forward and gain and regain ground. So what November holds doesn't really matter to me, because the game plan is still the game plan.
Right.
And educating people and trying to radicalize my neighbors, get people pulling their kids out of school, growing their own food, all those types of things, buying more guns, buying ammo, and
Base.
having a self champion, self hero mindset, and prepare to take matters into your own hands, because as we know, the government is nobody's coming to save you.
Nobody's coming to save you. That's exactly well put and exactly accurate. I talk about it all the time at great length. I will never beat that dead horse enough. I will always keep perpetually explaining to anyone that's willing to listen that the most authoritarian, uh, draconian laws that are rained down upon you happen with the people that are right around you. It's
Yep.
not the federal government. It's kind of political theater. And I think that the last 4 years have kind of proved this, RJ. Um, do we even need a president? We hired, and I say we loosely because I'm willing to bet that you and me 100% didn't vote for Biden,
Yeah.
but we,
No.
somehow, some way, you can have your disputes about all the election integrity stuff, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, for the last 4 years, we hired a dead guy, and he's
No.
completely incompetent. He's clearly not been in charge the whole time. So what are we doing? Why do we even have the position?
Well, ultimately, I actually approached libertarianism from like a conspiracy theorist standpoint. Like whenever I was in high school, I
Based.
was coming home and talking to my mom. I was like, the stuff that's going on in school is garbage, right? Like all this stuff. I've been looking it up wherever I get home because I just love to like dive in and educate myself and like figure out what was going on. And so like I started looking at stuff. I was like, they're teaching us stuff that's actually not true. And whenever I bring it up, they get mad. And the down to the rat race and trying to pull back layers and stuff or whatever of the medical industrial complex, with the pharmacies and the
Tough one.
links to Rockefeller and all this stuff. Wherever you start looking at that, and you're looking at the education system and realizing that only like 2 or 3 companies print all the books, and it's like
Right.
you start pulling back all the stuff, and you start realizing like, oh, like there's obviously like a evil group of people that's just puppet masters. And whenever people like Trump or JFK or whatever, or Malcolm X or any of those people that obviously were assassinated by a federal agency, like they the reason why like those people get targeted is because they're jacking up the status quo. They're getting too involved. And whenever you have somebody that's like Joe, who has been absent-minded most of his life, even so back that there's a video I'm sure you've seen of Robin Williams doing a joke about Joe Biden like 10, 15 years ago, and he's like, he's making fun of Joe like not knowing where he is and stuff or whatever. So people that act like, oh well, this is a new development in the last, during his presidency, like, okay, you're out of your mind. But
Right.
then now it's like, okay, well, this is convenient because as dumb as Biden is, Kamala is at least 15 to 20 IQ points lower than him. And so it's really easy to control her. She's been pushed around just since she's been announced for the candidacy. Like she's
Yep.
flip-flopping and moving through and being, you can see the guardrails are just nudging her back and forth. So that's exactly their candidate. That's who they want.
Yeah, yeah. There's no doubt that they want somebody that's easily controllable. From Legacy Zach says, when you enjoy studying history, you will always find the conspiracy, and they're all real. Most of
So
them,
I have
yes,
a
for sure.
Yeah, and one of the big conspiracies I dove into was like the Bohemian Grove, because back like old school Alex Jones,
Nice.
getting in there and stuff. So
Yeah,
I have a shirt
yeah.
that has the big owl and like some trees and stuff, and then it says Bohemian Grove across the top, and the bottom it says Alex Jones is right. But yeah, man, when you start peeling back stuff and you start looking at it, you're like, oh, this is funky. This doesn't smell right. And
Yep.
yeah, I mean, ultimately, dude, like I can't tell you the last time. I mean, it had to be in like the early 20s, like maybe like Calvin Coolidge, or somebody like that, that actually was even somewhat at the helm. You could argue even at that point that some of that was co-opted, but when you start looking at the cabinet exponentially growing, and you start looking at the positions there, that are growing, and the bureaus that are opening, the CIA, the FBI, the ATF making their own laws, or what they're acting like
It's
as laws,
crazy.
like they're completely
That was all
outside
because of
of
Chevron.
Congress.
That was all because of Chevron deference, by the way,
Yeah,
which has been eliminated. So now
yeah,
these
it's going to
over,
start tumbling down.
yeah.
I mean,
I
given the
mean, we
right
hope
person,
so.
right? Given some, I mean, uh, and obviously
So
people like FPC and all those, they're pushing on all these things,
love
because
those guys. They
they're,
follow
they're
me.
the best, man. But yeah, I mean, but to answer your main point, like president is 100% a figurehead. Like it was always supposed to be a limited role, and was kind of supposed to be the ambassador for the states, more or
Right.
less, but now it's more than obvious that that it's just a you know it's a sock puppet, and they're just prancing 'em around, pushing them and prodding them, and doing this and that and whatever. So yeah, I mean,
So,
do we need a president? No, from the aspect of they're controlling things anyways. But they need a president. They need a face. They need somebody to say,
right.
hey, this is it. And then also they need somebody to shit can whenever things go sideways or whatever. They can blame it on that
That's
person,
right.
and
Now, do
uh,
you think that the absolutely what I would perceive as on its face, right? If you don't, let's just say you're a newbie to politics, and maybe the scratch level surface of stuff, but you know some things, and you look at who Trump is trying to put in his cabinet. Mainly speaking of RFK Jr., Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, Vivek Ramaswamy. What, as opposed to, well, I mean, I don't, nobody knows who Kamala is even. We don't know
yeah.
her policies. We don't know who she's going to put in cabinets.
She doesn't
We have
know.
no idea. She doesn't know. She's 3 sheets from the wind by noon
Yeah.
every day. Like, I'm convinced that chick is Michael Malice said it best. She is
Yeah.
America's wino.
My mom. Yep.
She's just she's drunk by noon.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't know. She has the IQ of a squished caterpillar.
Yeah.
But let's say we do have one sample size of what the Trump administration would do. What do you think about that team? And do you think we could actually do some of the things that the intelligent libertarians, the intelligent people on the planet would know to be accurate and true if he were, and then you got to base that on belief. I get all that, y'all. Don't berate us in the comment. I get it.
Yeah.
Politicians lie.
Everybody's
They make campaign
yeah.
promises.
Yeah.
We know all that. This is a unbelievably dead horse to beat. But let's just say all those people are in Trump's cabinet, and he says, "Free Ross, eliminate the Department of Education." Appoint RFK Jr. over health and sciences, probably HHS, right? Health and Human Services. Is that if let's just assume if we could peek into the future, he actually did these things. Which route? Now, obviously, I'm setting up something that's ridiculous because I can't give you anything Kamala has to say. I don't have anything there.
Yeah.
If there was something there, I'd present that as a counterpoint. It doesn't exist. So we only have one side. There's the side. There's the points. What do we do here? Can this actually be resolved in some sort of level on a federal level if this is the cabinet he chooses to pick if he wins?
So I've thought about this recently because I know obviously like to be able to dismantle most of it would basically just be to like lay everybody off and say like, hey, nobody works in this department anymore. Like, hey, like fire people just left and right and stuff. And eventually it folds on itself because you can't keep something open that doesn't have people to run it. But beyond that, like putting people in the right place to bring light, I think is kind of the main thing and the most important thing to do, because the more that you can bring out at a fast rate and be like, hey, look, all these things that we've been telling you we're pretty sure is happening. Here's here's the papers. Here's all the actual information. Whether that's damning evidence of the ATF or the CIA or the FBI or whoever it is, like whenever you start bringing out their actual unredacted copies of stuff and saying, hey, we told you this is real, it's going to open a lot of people's eyes, and it's going to radicalize a lot of people into being like, man, we have been lied to this whole time. And I think that that's a very important route to go. I think that um, the people that he's mentioned are at least in the right mindset to kind of start that process. I've seen people joke and stuff about Thomas Massey being like appointed to some in some way
Agriculture, I believe, is what
agriculture or something.
Nicole Shanahan. Oh, hey, Nicole Shanahan.
Yeah.
Oh man, she's turned out to be a superstar.
Oh, dude, she
She's been
started.
incredible the last 3 days, 4 days.
Yeah, she's been knocking it out of the park. And but somebody like that is going to be like they're going to have their own like inner beast that says like, I want to get this out and show it to the world. So I think that putting somebody in those positions that has more or less a grudge with that department is going to be the best thing, because if you bring light to darkness, then uh, people can't deny it. People can't say like, oh well, that's speculation or whatever. Like, there is no speculation now. We got all the white papers. Here it is. Here's all the truth. Here's these people's signatures. Here's these people's email trains and stuff, wherever. There's no escaping it now. And I think that that's really important, because we we know so much, and we can see so much, and you
Right.
can see things obviously going together. But then, for other people, like, seeing is believing. They need to see like page number and everything. um but on the other side of it, the scary part of it, that we don't have any idea who Kamala has on our list, is the options are endless, and she's not going
Right.
to pick them. She's not going to pick
No.
them. She's going to she They're going to be given. There's going to be a list of names given to her, and it's going to be the worst people ever. Like, imagine like a Bill Gates ahead of HHS or something like that, man. Like, they're going to pick whoever they want. She has no ground to stand on. There's nothing for her to be able to say like, nah, I don't want that or whatever. And of course, like, it kind of depends how the Congress shakes up. If it shakes up at all, one way, left or right, um, because whenever it comes to some of these positions and stuff, wherever, like, they're gonna have to, they're gonna have to be checked in. They're gonna have to be approved. And we know the first time around with a lot of Trump's appointees, like, it took so long that they couldn't do it. They walked out. They were like, "Oh, can't sit here and try to be
Yeah.
confirmed for months, months and months and months." So um, that's one thing that does kind of suck. That could be hung up, preventing some of those things that happen. And I think that they know what's going to happen if they do let certain people in, right? So of course it's going to be
Right.
to their benefit to try to stop any of those people. So it may be smart for uh, Trump to find some quiet folks that have radical ideas. Somebody that isn't doesn't have so much of a footprint, social media, or just in politics or whatever. And they're gonna be like, oh, okay, well, this person seems kind of squeaky clean, and then they get in there and boom, like, nope,
Now,
crazy as hell.
I, I've heard that, yeah, yeah, completely psychotic, and these people don't do any research, which brings me back to the what you had said earlier when you started digging into like the curriculum and the fact that there's a monopoly on quote unquote public it's not public education, it's government ran schools. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
call it what it is. Stop with the euphemisms. But the fact that there's a monopoly on just a hand select full of curriculum designers is exactly what you're talking about right here, and it's exactly what legacy is talking about as well, and everybody. And that we don't we if you have to do your own research. You have to go dig into the stuff and figure out what you're actually showing to yourself and your kids. And
Yep.
I haven't confirmed this right here, but Legacy Zach says Larry Fink is a possible Trump cabinet rumor is scary. And that Trump cabinet rumor position that he's talking about is head of the Fed. If you don't know who Larry, not you, I know you do, RJ. But for those
Yep.
of you that don't know, Larry Fink is the head of BlackRock. BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, basically control all of the investment firms and all of the world. So if this is true, if Trump is considering Larry Fink to be the head of the Federal Reserve, that's just immeasurably evil. It's unforgivably stupid. I'm just beyond. Now again, I have not seen anything from the Trump campaign. This is all speculation
Yeah, I've seen
from
the
people that
speculation,
I
but I haven't
follow.
seen anything official, or any kind of anything that would put into the uh, reputable uh, category necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, it's who knows? There's all kinds of stuff. You know, a lot of rumors do come true. But I don't know, man. I really
Yeah.
hope that some good people are in his ear. And you know, I was listening to the Tucker interview with RFK, and you know, it seems like there's a lot of people advising the Trump campaign that are, yes, Thomas Massey should be head of the Fed. He'd shut it down.
Yeah.
He'd
I
just,
actually like the idea of him being head of the of agriculture,
yeah, I think that.
but
Well, I don't know, man. There's a lot of things that he'd be good at. We can just
yeah,
clone Massey,
exactly. Right,
and
right, right, right.
we'll just put him ahead of everything. Um, but yeah. Anyways, I got sidetracked because now I'm like sitting here thinking, like, yes, Massey, the head of Fed.
Oh,
Let's
you're
go.
good. We were just ranting at this point.
Yeah.
So let me go do some funny for y'all. Let's bust it up with a little bit of funny. Here's some we're gonna go with my favorite segments here. How is that racist? Newsflash. What I'm about to show you is absolutely racist, but it's freaking funny. And so we're gonna watch it. Let me find the video real quick. All right, here we go.
We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving.
It's absolutely hilarious. So for those of you that will be listening or are listening right now, oh, excuse me, it's a guy just showing pictures of different ethnicities, saying it's okay to be black, it's okay to be Hispanic, Asian, Arab, blah blah blah. And when he gets to the white guy, he's got 2 thumbs up, and it says it's okay to be normal, which is just freaking funny, man.
Yeah,
Look,
it's pretty funny.
it's let me say something about that. It's okay, y'all. Like I'm 41. I'm a 90s baby, right? I was born in 83. I'm a 90s child. We did this stuff all the time. It's hilarious. And if you
Oh, yeah.
actually want free speech, it will run through the avenue of comedy. I promise you.
Oh,
It
for sure.
absolutely will be given to us by shows like Kill Tony. If you don't know Kill Tony,
Oh,
shout
yeah.
out.
Kill Tony's
Not a
awesome.
sponsor. Guys, that's great. That's the best show I've ever seen in my life. And
Yeah,
it's
it's hilarious.
brutally offensive. That's what we need. Everybody can be made fun of. Everyone.
Absolutely.
And if you're not allowed to make fun of somebody, that person should be just absolutely destroyed. Or that
Yeah.
demographic. And I mean
You
that
know,
figuratively.
well, yeah, right. In Minecraft. No, but yeah, dude, like when you look at comedy, 70s, 80s, 90s, I mean, dude, like a lot of the stuff that you go back and you look, whether it's movies like Blazing Saddles, or
Right.
you know, it's like Richard Pryor stand up, or Eddie Murphy stand up, or whatever. Like, dude,
Even Tropic Thunder.
oh yeah, even up to that's probably the end of it.
Yeah, it's probably the kill
But
the death
yeah,
knell.
I mean, well, the thing that's real funny to me about Tropic Thunder is you look at all those people and they're all woke as shit now. Like they're just all
Oh,
like
yeah, it's
super
terrible.
like super woke, and they would never do a movie like that today if it came across
No.
their table.
Nah, they're all blacklisted now. You're not allowed to say Tropic Thunder was such a massive success. They can't do anything with it. And that's the point. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm still getting over a chest cold. Like you can't cancel Dave Chappelle.
Yeah,
Why?
no,
Because he's massively successful.
yeah,
You just can't
and he
do
took
it.
it into his own hands. Him
Yeah.
leaving his contract and walking away was probably the smartest thing they ever did, because all these other
100%.
comics and stuff, wherever that kowtowed and bowed down,
Mm-mm.
you know, now they're shackled. They can't do anything. But Dave Chappelle can do whatever he wants. He can say whatever he wants, go wherever he wants, and
And that's what
he'll
pisses me off about these people, right? You have FU money. What are you doing bowing down to the progressive cult pitchfork wielding mob? Never apologize to these psychopaths ever. Never,
Yep.
not once. They are out for blood and scalps. And you apologize, they collected their blood and scalp and they still cancel you.
Yep. And then as you want to come up, they're going to hold you down the whole time and tell you where and what and how much and all that. It's no good. It's no good.
No, it's horribly evil and against everything that our country stands for, which is a great segue into some absolutely nightmarish clips, or at least one clip, and then a lot of policy to succeed that clip into fascism, which is coming straight from the Democrat Party. But first, whotouchedit.com. He's on the show right now. Whotouchedit.com, Who Touched the Thermostat. Go follow him on Twitter, Who Touched the Thermostat. And go look at his shirts because they're awesome. They're the best political shirt. I know Luke We Are Changed tries to say that he has the best political shirts, but I've looked at both websites and I'm genuinely telling you that RJ Evans, Who Touched the Thermostat, has the best political shirts. Go follow him. Go check out his website, whotouchedit.com. That's whotouchedit.com. Just like you hear it is exactly how it's spelled. Now, I want to show this video for people that have not seen it. And then I want to get directly into something that's, in my opinion, extraordinarily dangerous, 100% fascistic, and would lead to just outright authoritarianism. So let me play the clip first, and then we'll get into the subject matter.
Put the Department of Justice of the United States back in the business of justice. We will double the Civil Rights Division and direct law enforcement to counter this extremism. We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy. And if you profit off of hate, if you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable as a community.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really? So, translation, she's going to be a fascist dictator and regulate speech via threat of the Department of Justice on social media platforms that, under the arbitrary banner of, you guessed it, hate speech.
Mm-hmm.
This is incredibly dangerous.
Oh, super dangerous. And I mean, looking back at what we dealt with during the severe cold era, we dealt with all kinds of stuff from that, and going into the election of them hiding everything and hiding the truth, lying about the truth, and making everybody seem crazy. And we were all like, oh my gosh, this is 1984. And it's like, guess what? It gets worse. And this is worse. So if you're obviously looking at her saying that and know 100% that she's thinking Elon in her head.
That's right.
The French government took down the Telegram guy, and now they're gonna hit the U.S. if she gets in power is gonna target the X guy, right? So
French arrested the Telegram guy, and Brazil eliminated X from their entire platform.
Yeah. So you sit there and you look at all that, and it's like, okay, yep, this is like the precursor to 1984. This is like 1983. We're walking in that direction. And the thing that is crazy to me is that I ran a poll the other day, and I was just checking. I was like, hey, if you could choose between the two of FBI's assassinatees, who would you bring back, Malcolm X or Martin Luther King? And like 75% said Malcolm X. And it's interesting because, a lot of people at the schools and everything, like, you don't see Malcolm X in public schools. You don't see Malcolm X Boulevard and stuff or whatever. But whenever you listen to him, he's like, hey, let everybody say this dumb, ignorant, racist stuff out loud so that we know who's evil, right? So the dumbest thing you can do is put these people in a box and get them away, because then you don't know who your real enemies are. But if you actually,
I've literally
allow
got
these
Malcolm
people-
X's book right here.
Oh, nice. Look at that. So if you, if you shut down people like this, then all you're going to do is drive hate underground, which historically is bad, because you empower these people to go dark, and then the real radicals, the real hateful people, are going to go down, and then the semi-hateful people, you start going up the tier, and you start seeing people be like, well, and then they get blocked, and they're like, oh, okay, now I'm radicalized, now I'm really angry. So that's one of the things that run into, and then but the thing is, you've seen over the last however many years, people that aren't radical at all getting canned for for nothing, or moms at public school hearings and stuff, where we're getting approached and harassed by the FBI. So they say it like it's all about hate speech, but like whenever you're looking around, or wherever, like the hateful content is very little, if nothing, that really comes across my stuff, other than people just dogging on people online, like. But
what is hate speech?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not even going to use the term hate speech, because that's garbage. But I'm just saying, like, real actual people that are hateful, that say like hateful things. Like, most of it's in jest, or just like back and forth flame war nonsense, goofy BS that both parties wouldn't partake in regular life, face to face or whatever. And that's really what matters. But yeah, dude, like, if they're going to police all this stuff, like, the people that think that she's talking about, like, the bad people, wherever, like, she's talking about everybody that's to the right of Mao, you know what I mean? Like,
thank you.
This is not really being on a goodwill mission to protect people from hateful comments, like, it's really to attack people that are trying to have serious conversations about serious topics. And whenever you take all that away, then there's only certain people that are talking in the room, and it's whoever they put in front of you. And that's people like Fauci. That's people, like I had somebody in my brain and just skipped off track. Anyways, yeah, any of those people, any of the
medical
cough and cold era, any of those people, like, those are their experts, and they're gonna, or the dude, I'm blanking my mind, the dude from the ATF that whenever they were breaking down all the guns and stuff, and he was sitting there trying to get
the guy that couldn't even disassemble a 9mm.
Like, yeah, okay, dude, whatever.
So the ATF doesn't even know how to operate a 9mm Glock.
Can't even,
incredible.
Can't even fill strip a Glock. But anyway, so yeah, I think it's demonstrably evil that people would even sit and listen to a politician say that. But here we are, right? A lot of people are applauding it, which is dark.
I should have, based on your comment right there, I should have downloaded the freaking the GIF of the one of the Star Wars movies, not the older ones, but one of the 2000 ones, where she says, "And this is how democracy dies."
Yeah,
to the sound of thunderous applause, right?
Yeah.
So let's check in right here. Legacy Zach, great comment. DOJ needed to be abolished at the time of its founding. Translation: it should have never been established. Yes, correct. Now, I want to play the video again, because everything you just said was just absolutely demonstrably true and nightmarish. And I hate the fact that nobody understands this, but I'm gonna play the video again, and then we're gonna go into our basically our final topic of the night, y'all.
Put the Department of Justice of the United States back in the business of justice. We will double the Civil Rights Division and direct law enforcement to counter this extremism. We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms, because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy. And if you profit off of hate, If you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable as a community.
Yeah, you get it. So now, on the back of that, in the last 24 to 48 hours, all of a sudden this indictment comes down, which, if anybody that's paid attention for 12 seconds over the last 8 years or so, give or take, the Russian collusion, and also define hate speech, right? So if you could label one thing hate speech, you can label anything hate speech. That's an
Yep.
arbitrary rule. And that's
Mhm.
just what they're doing. And she says, in her own words, she will sick the Department of Justice on these people. And now we have allegations from an indictment that actually doesn't have anything to do with the people involved. It's basically run a scam. And for those of you that pay attention, and I would hope that most of you do, it's you can Google it. Now they've changed their headlines. Okay. Now they've changed their headlines from right wing successful influencers were being paid by Putin to now it's right wing influencers were duped into spreading Russian propaganda. And this is the indictment. And again, if you look at the actual indictment, according to what multiple sources and what you can kind of see on there, is that these people didn't know anything about this. But you can see tweet after tweet after tweet with 25, 30, 40, 50, 100,000 likes talking about these people being right with. They just ran the story immediately, being there. Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Rubin Report, Dave Rubin. They're just all paid Russian trolls. And it's not true. Even the indictment says they were victims of a scam. They had nothing to do with it. Go back and watch Tim Pool's episode from last night. I pulled his attorney's statement because you only need one. They all put out attorney's statement. It's clear it's attorney's statement. I only needed to pull one. So I'm going to read it real quick. My statement regarding allegations in the DOJ indictment coming from the Tim Pool attorney team. Should these allegations prove true, I, as well as the other personalities and commenters, were deceived and are victims. I cannot speak for anyone else at the company as to what they do or do not do what they are instructed. The Culture War podcast, which the Culture War podcast is not even Timcast RRL. It's the only thing that is acknowledged in the indictment. The Culture War podcast was licensed by Tenet Media, who apparently is owned and ran by Lauren Chin. I do think that Lauren Chin is probably in trouble here. It does seem like she's actually engaged in Russian collusion, but none of the other people. It existed talking about Culture War podcast on timcast.com. It existed well before any license agreement with Tenet, and it will continue to exist after any such agreement expires. The only change with the agreement was that the location of the live broadcast moved to the Tenet's YouTube channel. I and TCW never produced any content for Tenet Media. Never at any point did anyone other than I have full editorial control of the show, and the contents of the show are often apolitical. Examples include discussing spirituality, dating, and video games. The show is produced in its entirety by our local team without input from anyone external to the company. TCW is a separate company, not associated with timcast.com or other properties. It exists solely for the production of the Culture War podcast. That being said, we still do not know what is true, as these are only allegations. And then you can clearly see this is Tim. Putin is a scumbag. Russia sucks donkey balls. And to the journalists who wish to jump the gun, create their own narrative, or lie about what is currently going on, you can eat my Irish ASS. Look, this is, and I listened to all of Tim's podcast from last night after this dropped. And I looked at the other responses from the people being named in the allegation. All of them are laughing their asses off, and they're dismissing it outright. They're like, this has nothing to do with me. It literally has nothing to do with them.
So,
but you can get on Twitter right now in post after post after post after post after post, claiming. I even saw one that said, with all the Russian allegations that just came through and that they're paid trolls, it's clear that Hillary Clinton won the 2016 election. Now, YouTube, I'm quoting a post from Twitter. I'm not saying that. I'm not an election denier. Hillary Clinton is. I'm not.
Yeah. So yeah, it's funny because I always tell people that the first headline that they run is what they want to stick in people's brains, and it doesn't matter if they go back and they edit it 5 minutes later or 2 days later or whatever, or they make comment corrections down at the bottom. It's scientific. It's been studied that the first thing that you're taught, the first thing that you're exposed to or whatever is like the hardest thing to remove. Like you have to like really want to remove whatever that was. Um, and there's people that believe all kinds of stuff that is not true, but it's whatever they read first or whatever they heard, and they just stick with it. So like the Nick Sandman case with
Right.
this smiling kid, like all the stuff that's lies. Whatever the Native American face kid and all these things. I mean, there's still people out there that think that Rittenhouse didn't kill a white pedophile and a
Yeah.
white beater. Okay,
They
like there's
still
people
think
that
it could be
really
black
don't
people.
think that that's true, but it's because whenever they hopped on Twitter and they saw the news break and stuff, wherever like they saw their first lie and they kept telling it, and now they it's done. That's what's in their brain, unless they course correct on purpose, unless you go and you research it, right? And a lot of people do their own research and correct things and be like, my bad, I do it. I've seen things and been like, oh man, that's
Right.
crazy. And like I'll start looking at it like, hold up, something's not right. And I'll gladly say like, hey, I got it wrong. Whoops, my bad. But there's a bunch of people that don't even want to look in that direction of the truth.
Nope.
They'd much rather just run with their lie. And so
Yep.
this is definitely one of those cases. Whenever I started seeing it blow up on Twitter, and it was like the only thing that was on my feed for like an hour and a half, I was like, okay, well, I'm sure that this is bunk, but I'm not sure how or what's true about it, and nor do I really care too much about where people's money's coming from. Like we had legacy media lying to us for 30, 40, 50 years. What's the difference of
Eh,
people whatever, taking money from this person, that person, whatever. Like it's all up to you. It's up to the individual to discern
yeah.
what the truth is. And I tell you, like one of the smartest things I have heard and I love and I'm trying to implement in my life is Thomas Massey said that anything that he wants to know about, he'll buy 3
Base.
books on. And he'll buy one book, he'll read it, he'll study it, look at it, he'll buy a second book and he'll read it, study it, and then the third book, and he'll compare them and say like, okay, all 3 of these books say this, so this must be accurate, this must be right. But these 2 books, don't agree, but these 2 books do agree, so he's able to pick things apart and find the best information, because if 3 sources say the exact same thing, like 3 completely separate sources with no connection whatever, like it's probably right. And whenever I heard him say that, I was like, that's pretty spot on. So anything you want to learn how to do, whether it's electrical work or working on a car or whatever, if there's 3 sources that you've checked, books, whatever, that tell you to do it a certain way or whatever, that's the way that you should do it. And then but that goes for anything. That goes for, like I said, learning electrical stuff, working on a car, or political stuff, wherever. If you're learning about economics, find 3 different sources and see where they all like where they meet. Because even whenever you start reading the uh the far left and socialist and communist stuff, and then you start reading things like the law by Bastiat and stuff, like you see even though these people
Right.
completely would disagree on their principles, there's certain things that you can't escape because it's the truth. It's the truth. And I love, everybody's like, oh, it's my truth. And it's like, no, there is
No,
the
there's
truth.
just the truth.
Yeah, there's no. So but anyway, so yeah, like whenever it comes to politics and stuff, wherever, like um I've always tried to go by the thing of finding like a moderate type news outlet and then find like a right and the left. And if all wherever they line up or click or whatever, then that's where the truth is. And you can see, which a lot of times now the journalists nowadays suck so bad that you just can read one side and be like, they're lying about this because they're avoiding it. Like you can tell the way that they wrote it. It's like they don't want to be honest about this part of it. So there must be a hole here because they don't want to address it head on.
No.
And that doesn't matter what side of the aisle or whatever. I've seen it time and time again, and people are getting lazier. I mean, obviously, there's some decent folks out there that are upfront and honest, but not a lot.
Yeah, it's hard to filter through who is telling you the truth and who isn't. I do want to highlight something you said because it absolutely puts a magnifying glass on something that's wildly important. You said Thomas Massey wants to check 3 books about certain topics for reference. He'll cross-check those references, and then he'll decipher the what he deems to be true. This is accurate beyond any shadow of a doubt. And this is our problem in America when it comes to ingesting media and content and news, is that you can literally have posts, as I've referenced, that will have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of likes, millions of impressions and views that are just outright lies. These people don't check it. They don't cross-reference it. It's confirmation bias. And so they like it and they retweet it. And that's like a legitimate problem with social media outside of we got to break that algorithm. But I don't think you can truly break the algorithm because people are going to live in their echo chambers, right?
Yeah.
But if we're talking about somebody who's trying to be fair and objective, and you want to literally check 3 books for reference and then whittle it all down to like this seems the most true to me. I think that's probably our biggest problem in America is that nobody wants to do that because nobody wants to hear conflicting information outside of the libertarians. It's amazing to me that we still get called stupid. They're like, we're the only ones cross-checking all the like Thomas Massey is just a libertarian under the umbrella of the Republican Party. And he's telling you outright, cross-check your information so that what you put out is true information, so you believe things are accurate, and they just won't do it.
I think that a lot of it is a is a response to all the programming that we've had for generations.
Facts.
Okay. There are things that my mom, for instance, very very smart and intelligent on topics that she is locked in on. She can learn anything. But we've had these conversations about things where she's like, I don't understand how that could be. And then I started showing her things and started breaking it down. And she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, this is bad. What is going on? How has this been going on this whole time? And I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about. But the public school system, even before the Federal Department of Education was created in the end of 1979 and actually opened doors in the beginning of 1980, there was already a format that they were following, like the Prussian model, and you started looking into like the core roots of like public school and like the way that it was operating and stuff. It was all about making workers and obedient citizens. And so all those things have gotten worse over the years. Like for instance, we do homeschool and stuff or whatever, and part of the homeschool curriculum was talking about doing the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. And I was like, nah, we're not doing that. I'm a Christian, so I'll teach her like the Lord's Prayer, and we'll do that on a regular basis. But like, pledge allegiance for historical purposes. I'll teach her about it, but a lot of these people out here that are like, oh, they're taking the pledge out of schools and everything. It's like, hey guys, you realize that the person who wrote that and pushed
The
that
socialist.
was a socialist,
Yeah.
And I'm like, if any other time you're gonna crap all over socialists, but whenever they're writing your pledge of allegiance, you're all over it. Don't think that has anything to do with socialism, praising, like worshiping and bowing down to the government, which they'll try to, you know, snake through it.
Spin.
But that's what it is, man. When you're pledging allegiance to the flag, you're saying you're giving allegiance to that thing, which
It's
as a
in the
Christian
first sentence.
violates my
Yes.
ideals right off the jump, because I'm not supposed to put anything that high. Okay.
I
Other than
pledge
God.
allegiance to the flag.
Yeah.
Why are
So
you
I'm not
pledging
doing that.
allegiance to a freaking substance that
Yeah.
has no moral value, that has
Nothing.
no theological construct, it has
So
no moral subjectivity whatsoever? I pledge allegiance to the flag.
when you
Like,
do that, when you do things like that, okay, so you create connectors. So everybody did the Pledge of Allegiance, and now everybody can be like, "Oh, I remember the Pledge of Allegiance." And now you have like raging boomers that are like, they're getting ready to Pledge of Allegiance or whatever it is. Take that and multiply that over and over again, because there's all kinds of things that have been put in place to create this society that blocks everybody else out. So, like whenever I was talking to family about homeschooling our kids, and they were like, "Oh, well, they need structure and this and that." I'm like, "Well, first of all, they're going to get structure, but second of all, my kid doesn't need to go ask permission to go to the bathroom." Okay, stupid.
Right.
It's dumb. I'm like, "Do you raise your hand and ask your boss if you can go,
no.
relieve yourself?" No. Like, it's just insane. So there's all these people that are like, well, it's just part of what we do. It's just what we're doing. And now, like, more and more people are coming out and studies are coming out. It's like, hey, it's actually not healthy and good for your child's like mental well-being to put them in preschool or put them in a daycare. It's like socialization. It's like, no, they need their parents close so that they can branch out and feel comfortable and learn and try new things and fail, and know that if they fail or they hurt themselves, that their parents there to
Yep.
back them up. And wherever when you pull those kids away from the parents, or wherever you see it time and time again, like parents are like, I don't even know my kid anymore. It's like, well, no, duh. Ever since they were born, you were shipping them off to some stranger for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week or what have you. And everybody jumps on and they're like, oh, well, I just can't do that. We got to have two incomes. It's like, we have to change our mindset, because if we're ever going to break the matrix, if we're ever going to break out of this mindset and break through all these things, it's going to take a big push and a lot of people to sacrifice a lot and
That's right.
do a completely different life. And if it's not worth it to you, sad, but it's not worth it to you. Now, I get it.
And your kids
It's
aren't worth
hard.
it to me.
It's hard to do it
I
all of
don't.
a
I
sudden or
don't.
whatever. But I'm telling you, like, in the next generation, we need to be yanking kids out of the system and doing something different, finding different ways to go about it. And the Pledge of Allegiance is one example. And then, like, I've joked with my wife about, like, some people have even said, like, well, your kid will never have prom. And I'm like, who gives a like, I don't
Right.
care. Like, prom, honestly, both proms that I had, and if I could go back and erase them, I would have, because it
Who
was
cares?
stupid. It was just dumb debauchery, tons of money spent for no reason. And I was around awful people doing awful things that I shouldn't have been doing in the first place. And,
Yep.
they're like, oh, well, it's all part of growth. And it's like, okay, well, whenever you hand your kids to somebody else in a completely different mindset, and then you are like, why are they completely against all the things that we tried to instill? It's like, okay, well, I think it's Vodi Bakum who says, like, don't hand your kids to Caesar and wonder why you get back Romans.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I saw that.
And so that's kind of the way I look at it. But all those things bring us to where we are, because you just have a whole army of NPCs on both sides of the fence that are just like operate, do this.
They want to
take new
maintain the
inputs.
system
That's
They want to
that's
maintain the system that's
yeah,
currently
right.
corrupted everything and been an abysmal failure
And
that we've noticed.
that's why I started making my shirts, because like everybody's rocking grunt style and all these like Brovet companies because they're patriotic and everything. But I'm telling you, man, like I started finding, ways. I'm like, okay, I got this one that's Come and Nuke Me, which was from Eric Swallowwell. He said that, oh, we have nukes. And it's like, okay, bro, come and nuke me then. Like, I'm not giving my stuff up. I'm not handing it to you. But I got the abolish IRS there. I got the I did not comply, which also, if you go to my site, I do have a sale right now up at the top. You'll see like the code and stuff to use. But also, Emily Phillips is running for state senate in New Hampshire, and that I did not comply. If you buy a hoodie or a T-shirt that I did not comply, I'm giving $5 for each one of them to her campaign. That ends. Last day I can do that is September 13th, which is also the last day of the sale. So works out. You can go get one of those and help support a hardcore liberty candidate. But anyways, I started making these shirts. I started making shirts that like I could start conversations. I have a Repeal the Patriot Act shirt, and down
That's
here in
right.
Florida, I get tons of old people going like, "Man, that sounds familiar, but what is the Patriot Act?" I swear.
That's
And so then I
crazy.
have to sit here and I'm telling them, and they're like, "Damn it, you're right. We should get rid of that." I'm like, I know, right? So
Right.
you have that, and then and the cool thing is it builds some friendships. I made some friends or whatever from just walking around. Like people are like, "Hey, that's a cool shirt." Like, we start making connections and realizing we have mutuals and stuff. So uh that's one of the awesome things. But yeah, dude, like we have to break the cycle. We have to engage people and make them choose a path, like choosing dangerous liberty or dangerous freedom, because I get corrected on that all the time because the actual quote is dangerous freedom, but I purposely chose liberty, uh
I like it.
dangerous liberty over peaceful slavery. So people are looking around, they're like, oh, we gotta ban these types of guns and this and that and whatever. And it's like, no, bro, I want to have all of my cards on deck. And I don't care if that means that I'm at a higher, I'm at a higher threat to be hurt or injured by a crazy person. Okay. Don't care. I'd much rather that than where I saw these people. There's a video the other day where these people found a baby, like a 18-month-old and like a 4-year-old, just standing outside of a house, and they called the cops because they didn't know who the kids belonged to. Took them 20 damn minutes, bro. 20 minutes for the cops to show up for 2 abandoned kids. Okay, like I don't care what the reason is or whatever. Like that's insane. Okay, and then they want me to trust these people who have openly contested, and the Supreme Court has said that the law enforcement in this country have no duty to protect you. They have no duty to
Multiple
protect you.
times.
It's me. Okay. I am the first responder. So I had somebody I was earlier that was talking craziness. And I was like, look, I literally became a gun owner and a daily carrier whenever my daughter was born, because of the simple fact that it is my responsibility to defend myself, my wife, my kids. And if anybody thinks that they're going to put any kind of pin in that, they're wrong. And I'm not standing for it. Not going to go along with it. And guess what? You think now that you're going to do it when we can just crank up the 3D printer and get it going? Okay, guys, like y'all've lost. I don't think you realize, but you've 100% lost. There's no coming back from this. We have more weaponry in the private hands in America than any other group,
Top
military or
10
otherwise, in the
top
world.
10 world's
Okay.
militaries combined.
Yeah. So if you really think that you're going to come and take it, you're going to have to come and nuke me. And guess what? Some of your goofball super leftist friends live right down the road from me. I don't know if you've looked at the the fallout of nuclear warheads, but I guarantee you your friends and family are going to be caught up in it. So, sacrifice at will, but guess what? Come and nuke me. I'm not handing anything over. Y'all goofballs can get into the snack and try to knock on my door. I don't care. Whatever you think that you're going to do, but I know most of these people are just running out of their mouth and think that they're going to, hand it off to some agency or whatever. But guess what, guys? It's not going to be that easy. And
Nope.
yeah, bring it.
I want to address this last comment before we head out of here,
Okay.
because incredibly important. It's from Derps Rothschild Press, which is, oh my goodness, what a great name. Okay, so who is the most involved with treason? What is treason? Well, my take on a treasonous act would be an attempt to take action against the American Constitution. What's your thoughts? I will give the most simplistic thought that any libertarian already shares, and then I'll let you elaborate, and then we'll get up out of here.
All right.
Everyone, every politician since 18 years after the Constitution was written was violated. Every one of them. So if you're gonna, I'm not saying we shouldn't, but if you're gonna propose treasonous acts for whomever violated the Constitution, then you're gonna have to arrest and jail every politician
Mhm.
since
So
basically the Constitution was written.
I have one of my first shirts that I thought was like so good, and I still do. I love it. I actually have a second one now, but it is it says it's not treason if you win, and it has a little winky smiley face emoji down below. It's awesome. It's a great shirt. Should definitely buy one. Buy one for your whole family. But seriously, the thing is that these people, quote unquote, won, or weren't opposed, and so they won. So now it's not treason in their eyes. Okay, but like you said, barely 2 decades in, you already had people violating the Constitution. So where we stand now is a matter of a rebellious plot. Like, I think if you look around, if you look at Congress, if you read the notes from Congress, if you see the laws that they're putting into place, the way that they hide, stuff deep 1,000 pages into omnibus bills and stuff or whatever, that's all treason. It's all treason. Should be punished and treated as treason. I think it's the reason why people like Thomas Massey are so opposed to voting on so many bills, because people get on him and they're like, "Hey, I heard you voted against this," and he's like, "Yeah, but did you see what else was in the bill?" And people are like, "Nah," because they don't read anything. He does. He
Right.
spends the time. His team spends the time to actually drill down and see what's actually in these things, and so he votes against the whole bill. And people get mad because the one piece that they wanted is in it. It's like, yeah, but the 5 other main pieces are things that you would, you literally, drag me out of office for voting yes on. So what are you talking about? Pay attention. But yeah, dude, like, to answer the question plainly, like, violating the Constitution, that it's been done and over with. Like, it's it's a constant everyday thing. They're in there doing it all the time. They vote on their pay raises, which is one thing that I talk about all the time with anybody who listens. Like, hey, like, political uh political work was originally supposed to be servanthood. It's supposed to be people went and served their term and they didn't want to stay. They wanted to go home because they had to take 2, 4, whatever years out of their life and off of their law firms, their businesses, their farms, or wherever. They had to take time away from that to be able to come serve the people. So now they want to get home. They want to get done and they want to get home. Okay. But we got to a point to where it started becoming lucrative for many reasons. And now there's people that are in there. Biden's been in DC for 50 years. Nancy Pelosi's been in DC for like 35, 40 years. Mitch McConnell's been in there for like 40 years. Like, this should not be happening. And then people want to jump into the whole like, oh, well, we need term limits. Well, guess what? I have another shirt. Great. See, I'm starting all kinds of conversations, guys. I'm telling you, go buy shirts, start conversations, radicalize your neighbors. But we are the term limits. The Second Amendment literally is the term limits. That's not a threat. That's not I'm in Minecraft. None of that stuff. That is a serious thing. The whole reason that we were given the Second Amendment was to have teeth to be able to say, hey, y'all are jacked up. Y'all are messed up. Y'all are screwing us over. Y'all need to get out or be dealt with. That's the way that it works. But the problem is we've let it sleep too long that we no longer, it doesn't really work. And Thomas Jefferson said that it would be, sorry, I'm going to get the quote wrong. Everybody pretty much knows it. Okay. It's the Tree of Liberty quote, but it's
Yeah.
the extended part.
Right,
But he
right.
says, it would be basically, it'd be a shame to not have a rebellion every 20 years. Okay. And if you look back and you start counting up 20 years in chunks through the U.S. history, and you can't count the Civil War as a rebellious event. That's a completely different talk. We're talking about like a revolutionary type thing. Okay. So if you keep going about 20 years or whatever, you can see the chunks and what has changed and how government has grown. And Thomas Jefferson, that right there gets dismissed a lot because the Tree of Liberty part gets the main portion of eyes.
Yeah,
But
the
if you read
attention.
the whole thing and you see what he was talking about in that whole letter he wrote, it's much more than that. And the fact that we haven't given as much weight to those things, and kept on that rebellious spirit that should have never died, has been to our detriment. And so here we sit, we're having to reignite that. We're blowing on the embers, and that's kind of me. It's part of the reason why I started Ignite Dialogue, Embrace Liberty is my tagline right now. And it's saying, hey, like, we still have a little bit here, but we have to make it grow. We have to let the flames rise, because if we just let it go as it is and don't care for the fire and don't tend to it, it will extinguish itself. And so yeah, anyways, big long rant. Every 20 years,
Nah, you got it.
rebellion. They're all tyrants, they're all treasonous traitors, and we should just etch a sketch the whole thing and start over.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough sell for sure.
Yeah, well,
Especially when you
the
have
thing is, that's another point, is that there were still people that were loyal to the crown at the time of the revolution. And guess what? There were still people loyal to the crown after the revolution. There were still people loyal to the crown well after the revolution. But those people were SOL, because guess what? The people that were really sick and tired of the garbage that was being put upon them ponied up, and they organized. And everybody does the whole Fed jacketing thing, like, oh, you're a Fed because you're talking revolution and whatever. It's like, shut up, get the hell out of here. My shirts are the pamphlets in the tavern that kept in mind of what was going on and keeping people in check of the evil and the tyrannical stuff that people were being oppressed with. And here we are in a new day and age, looking at the same things, where our government is continuously stealing 30 to 40% of our income, and they're shipping it to foreign countries. I have one shirt that says cocaine hamster fights, because that was literally paid by our tax dollars. Like, it's insane.
It sure was.
It's insane.
So
Okay? There's so much stuff that we're being robbed for,
turtles
and then we're over here. They're paying migrants and stuff, wherever, like thousands of dollars, putting it on the EBT card, and they try to deny it. But I've seen people that actually have talked to some of these people, and it's like, no, they're giving these people tons of money, giving them free rent, and here we have Americans where they're acting like the economy's so great because the stock market looks pretty. But I can tell you, dude, like, just in the last 3 months, I started comparing grocery bills for certain things and going like, man, I swear this was only $10 like a couple weeks ago, and it's like it's 15. Literally a few months went by, and it's $15 now, and it's like, okay, all right, I guess that's what we're doing here.
Apparently, I mean, I don't know what other choice that we have.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
we have to pay the prices outside of doing what you're doing, RJ, and that's growing your own food. That's what we do. We have our own chickens out here. We have a little tiny farm that we're
dude, I
working
have a
on.
friend of mine that lives in a more urban area, doesn't even have like a real yard, and the stuff that he grows in buckets is nuts.
Right.
I mean, everything, peppers, potatoes, whatever. Like, he has like a whole miniature farm in buckets. And so people get worried, like, oh, well, I don't have the acreage, I don't have the land or whatever. Like, figure out what you can handle and deal with it, man. You can do all kinds of stuff and be able to escape the poison that they're giving us through food and medicines and everything else. I mean, drink raw milk,
and it doesn't matter.
Eat honey.
What
you're gonna be way better off. Go ahead. Sorry.
Now both of us have.
Chop it up.
Are we back?
I think we're good. I'm clear on my side.
Okay. All right. It blanked out on
Probably my
mine.
agent checking in
Um,
on me.
Right. And irrespective of whatever political aisle you find yourself on, don't be dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't rely on the system to feed your family and
Yeah.
protect your family. Like, this is common sense. And it's mind blowing to me how much it's not mind blowing. I shouldn't say that. It's pure propaganda. How
Yeah.
much the establishment of many, many, many decades now has disenfranchised you from growing your own food, doing your own research, collecting your own water. This is a long time running, and these people will still freaking vote for this. Something you brought up earlier was the Prussian education model,
Mm-hmm.
which they still adopt. And we know it's an absolute abject failure. And
Yep.
then we move on to the fact that we know 100% they hate if you are sustainable on your own without the system.
Yeah, they can't
They hate
control
it.
you.
It's the two, exactly. The two are tied together. They're not mutually exclusive. They're
Mhm.
hand in hand. Your ability, their chastisement of your ability to sustain yourself is objectively related to the Prussian model of education. So, with that being said, let me play this video because I think it's important, and then we'll get up out of here
All right, let her rip.
because I think this is really just an objective model of how stupid over half of America is, that they will fall for this. And this really just kind of encapsulate the entire conversation as to what we're dealing with. Let's roll it.
Person in our nation has benefited from that work. You know, everywhere I go, I tell people, you may not be a union member, but you better thank unions for that 5-day work week. You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time. So, friends, 64 days until the most election of our lives. Let's just get through the next 64 days. How about that? And you all helped us win in 2020. And in 2024, we will win again. And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024. Yes, we will. He's going to jail. Well, the courts will handle that, and we will handle November. How about that? Here's the thing. The courts are going to handle that. We're going to beat them in November. We're going to beat them in November.
That's what we're dealing with. People will fall for this, and they make no
It's
qualms about it.
painful how crazy that is. And it's the whole like Hillary Clinton, I keep hot sauce in my purse kind of garbage. Like, dude, get out of here. Everybody knows that you're a fraud. Like, I don't want to hear that nonsense. And they do the whole like code switching stuff, which I understand. I grew up in I grew up in Kentucky, but I grew up in Louisville. So I grew up with family that was super, super country. And I also grew up in the inner city with a bunch of people that, spoke Ebonics and everything else, man. Like that's my life. I had both sides. So I understand the aspect. Okay. But there is a difference between whenever you're around your friends and you're joking and lollygagging and you may be cussing or whatever, but whenever you get home, you straighten up. You don't talk that way to your, mom, dad, whatever. And then whenever I go and spend, a week or two in the summer or wherever with my cousins and everybody down in Tennessee, like I'll come back and my draw would be real long and I would talk real slow, but that's a completely different type of situation versus what we're seeing there, where she is 100% weaponizing code switching. It's not a natural like, hey, I'm with my friends, so I'm gonna talk this way. It's like, hey,
And by
who's my
design.
audience? I gotta talk like my audience. That's not the same. And people try to claim it is, but it's not. I can tell you it's not.
No, it's not whatsoever. It's totally fake. And the real to wrap all this show up, I would say that one of the most underpinning ideas of what we're trying to tell to people, and please like, share the show, comment, subscribe. Please do all that. I do a terrible job of promoting myself. I apologize. However, anyway, whatever. Get over that. Yo, people believe this. You could show them this video and they won't care. It's not the fact that she is completely off the hinges, low IQ, absolute deadbeat moron. They
Yep.
don't care.
Nope.
They're going to do it in check engine, America. Check engine.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a mess,
So,
man.
it's a mess. With that being said, we're at an hour and 18 minutes. You're almost at 100 congruent live viewers.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep. Lay it out. Give us your final spill. I'm gonna leave it to you.
Oh, okay. So I hope I hope people really take to heart how important it is to radicalize your neighbors and to really make a
Base.
decision for yourself to escape the system. And I am doing my part, trying to homeschool, trying to work my way to a homestead and get out, pull my family out little by little. One of the ways I do that is I'm trying to grow Who Touched the Thermostat as a brand. Every other Friday, I'm going to try to do a live. I'm going to try to keep it a little bit more like dad centric and kind of kick back, because obviously we have politics bombarding us everywhere. And Noel does a great job on this show. So try to, we'll touch on topics, but come join me. We'll kick back. I'll smoke a cigar, whatever. We'll just kind of have some fun, talk about what's going on from a family aspect, and address more basic things, calm down things. But in the meantime, I'm also working to create new shirts, new designs that can help people radicalize their neighbors, ignite the dialogue for people to embrace liberty. So definitely check out whotouchedit.com. You can check out my YouTube and my which is Who Touched the Thermostat. I've got a couple good interviews with like Larry Sharp, David Thibodeau, who's a Waco survivor. That was my very first interview. It was crazy.
Nice.
But I have some good interviews. Oh yeah, Jody Plauché, Gary Plauché's son. We had a good conversation a couple months ago. That's all on there, and of course, I'm always sharing content and crushing stuff on X anytime that I can, and that's at the WT3 show on X. I'm also on IG and Facebook, but I don't really deal with that stuff. But mainly on X, YouTube. But yeah, come check me out. Come check out shirts. Grab a couple of them. Take them to your next family event or whatever. And make sure that the people that need to see it see it. We got everything from come and nuke me to end the Fed to abolish the IRS, FBI. Noel's got the communism is demonic shirt. There's literally, I think I counted the other day, I have like 100 different designs. And for my fellow Christians, I also have a faith-based section that's all like religious type stuff, like no king but Christ, and different cool things like that. So definitely come check it out, and join me and Noel as we try to radicalize our neighbors and push people out of the system and embrace them with open arms, so we can do this together. Because eventually, whether it's 60 days from now, 8 years from now, or whatever, we're going to need each other to be able to build a community and to thrive and move forward, and protect our kids, protect their kids, protect their kids' kids, and stop the the indentured servitude to tyrants. So that's all I got. Well,
Absolutely based. No, that was great. I love it so much because what we're trying to do here is establish an actual avenue for people to have success in the political field. And if if you're in any no, let me not say that. Um, the point being, no matter what the federal outlook looks like, you should be 100% involved in your local arena. And I've been pushing this, and I'm not going to stop pushing it.
I tell people,
And
if
go ahead.
you're not going to vote for anything else, vote for your local sheriff.
Oh, it's a
Vet
big
your
one.
local sheriff. Okay. I have a friend of mine that's running for sheriff out in Idaho, super based. But you have to find people, you have to find sheriffs that are going to nullify gun laws, going to nullify any of the federal nonsense, whether it's another lockdown type thing or something like that. Find a good sheriff. Other than that, like if you don't want to vote anything else, that's up to you. But I'm telling you, whenever sheriffs come up for vote, find the most base person in your county and vote for that person and convince them to run for sheriff, because there's so much that sheriffs can do to prevent tyranny from at least hitting your county. Okay, so yeah, focus locally, vote for school boards, your local council people, any of those type of people are going to have the most effect. But seriously, if you're not going to vote for any other office, vote for your sheriff, because the sheriffs can make or break whenever it comes down to the federales wanting to come and knock on people's doors. And
You mean like take people's guns like
Yeah.
this? Hold on.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's watch it. Let's go.
Ban assault weapons. My dad is a hunter. I don't know a whole hell of a lot of deer wearing Kevlar vests. I'm serious about this. High capacity magazines, once again, what do we need them for in terms of domestic use?
Not for deer, Joseph Robinette Byron. I'm concerned about human beings that wear Kevlar vests that want to hurt me and my family.
Yeah.
That's why everybody knows it. They continue to push this lie because they're awful, disgusting, vile, evil human beings that want to see you and your family locked up if you dissent to any opposition according to the government whatsoever.
You got it. That's exactly right. And I can't believe that they still run with the hunting argument, because it's so played out.
Crazy.
It's so played out. And it's like,
crazy.
okay, guys,
Nobody.
that when they sat down to write down the Bill of Rights, they were like, you know what, guys, we're gonna need to go hunting. Okay. So let's make sure that we put it in here that we can own guns so that we can go hunt. But let's not say anything about hunting in it and just kind of leave it up to them. I'm sure they'll get it. I'm sure they'll understand.
Right.
You know, let's put in militia, because militia typically is understood as a group of men that are going hunting for small game, right? Okay, we can all agree on that. Yeah, it's such a joke. It's such a played out thing. And quite honestly, there's all kinds of clips of him doing things like that, saying things like that, and saying like, oh, well, we've got F-15s. Well, guess what? We should normalize civilian owned F-15s. I'm talking about like full payloads. You know, I'm not talking about just just empty F-15s. I'm talking about like everything. Let's go. I don't care if you have an Abrams sitting in your backyard. Like, it's going to come in handy if the wrong people start knocking on my door, right? Whether it's foreign or domestic. Okay, I don't care where the threat's coming from. If my neighbor's got a tank and my other neighbor down the street has a A-10 Warthog, I think I'm going to be in good shape. But
they run with it because their constituency will buy it. That's why they run with it.
Yeah,
they're stupid.
Yeah, and they just trust blindly in the government to protect them, and that's the difference, man. I don't trust the government at all, not a little bit. And people are like, oh, well, what about your food and the FDA? Be like, y'all don't know anything, okay? Because I really don't trust those people. You know, I get people talking, you drink raw milk? Yes, we do. It's like, awesome. You're going to die. Be like, haven't yet. Don't plan to. And it definitely won't be from that. So
we ain't giving up no time soon. So,
yeah,
being that you have the best political spicy shirts on the planet,
hmm
I'm gonna ask you another time just to give your last pitch on your website for you.
all right.
What can we do to help you?
Hey, the biggest thing is right now I'm running a sale, 25% off the entire site. If you sign up for email subscriptions, I won't bombard you. I'm not crazy. I'm not putting 5 or 6 emails in your inbox every day. None of that nonsense. But it does get you free shipping, gets you a code to use. You can use that code for free shipping on any order as long as you stay subscribed to the email list. It just helps the web algorithms and everything for me. So um, if you get the subscription on the email list, you get free shipping. And then right now until the 13th of September, I'm running a sale that's 25% off site wide. So hoodies, t-shirts, you can get 25% off. That's anti-commie day. That was running like Labor Day. So,
Nice.
but all the information's at the top. It'll tell you, like, it'll remind you like what the code is for the sale, and then shipping and everything. It's right there. But whotouchedit.com. I'm adding new stuff. I am updating to where I should have shirt and hoodie for every design. But right now there's a lot more shirts than hoodies just because of the way that inventory and all that stuff works. But I'm working to get everything lined up, and I'll start offering some more stuff soon. I really want to get into like doing coffee mugs and um, stickers and all that kind of stuff. But seriously, take advantage right now of the 25% sale, because I may be able to run one closer to Black Friday, but right now, the way that it works, this is the hot time for both of us. So take advantage of the
Yeah.
25% off, the free shipping, and load up. Get you as many as you can, and tell your friends, family, share. If you can't, I know that everything's tight. The one thing that you could do
Yeah.
for me is just follow me, mainly on X, Facebook, or Instagram. Share anything, just
That's
contribute,
right.
just comment. All those things help me drive the algorithm, and be able to get in front of more people that um, we can radicalize, and we can also get some people that actually that will be able to buy and stuff wherever. So you're helping me however which way you're doing. Okay. Um, but I greatly appreciate it. It helps me be able to continue doing what I'm doing, educating people, homeschooling my kids, and being able to really dive in deeper into bringing more eyes and minds to liberty. So whotouchedit.com, hit the sale up, blow my site up, tell everybody. And I hope to run into some people wearing my stuff. I've already heard some people on X that have seen people out in public wearing my stuff. So that's really cool. And I have shirts all over the US. I have some in Canada. I just sent one to Slovakia. I got a couple in Denmark, the UK. So even if you're international, you can get it from me. You just have to pay whatever the shipping and customs is, because it does get a little pricey. But yeah, I'll ship everywhere. I'm glad to spread liberty globally if I can. So help me out, whotouched.com, and I'll see y'all next.
Thank you, brother. You've been awesome. What a great episode.
I'll come
You're
back anytime,
fantastic.
brother.
Oh, you're welcome anytime too. I'll always make space for you. We're at 100, a legitimate 100 live viewers now, and
Nice.
so please go. We have to support the parallel economy, y'all. We have to. If we're going to propagate freedom and liberty up into the masses, then we have to support the people that are supporting the message. Period. Otherwise, we will fall into a communist dictatorship.
I say buy from people that don't hate you. So buy ammo from Phoenix Ammunition, buy coffee from Stocking Mill Coffee Roasters, buy t-shirts from whotouched.com, and you'll be good to go.
That's right.
Go get you a
That
rifle right now
parallel
from PSA,
economy.
because Palmetto State's still running some really good deals. You can get a real nice rifle for $4.99. I think is one that I saw just before I hopped on here. And yeah, man, get out there, grab them up. Yeah, man.
Yep. Get them, and get them now. Do what you can. We have to do this, or we won't have a country left. RJ, thank you so much for hanging out with me, bro.
Hey,
We will do
thanks
this
for
again very, very, very soon.
Yeah, anytime, brother. You know how to get me.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you, my man.
All right. Take care, brother. Thanks, everybody.
You too. Later. Look, if we can't coalesce around the opportunity to support the people that are supporting our movement, then what are we doing? Like, honestly, we're just gonna sit on here on social media doing lives and doing podcasts and tweeting. All that's important, yes. But when do we take action? Now, now we take action. We support the parallel economy. We support the truth, no matter who it benefits. Doesn't matter if it's Democrats, doesn't matter if it's Republicans. We support the truth and we advocate for truth. Period. No exceptions. No excuses. We are past the point of no return, y'all. I'm serious. The climber, the viewer climb is just retarded. It's crazy. It's going buck wild. We're almost at triple digit views, congruent. So what can we do? Like the views don't mean anything if the situation doesn't change. The views don't mean anything if we don't actually support the people doing real on the ground work. We have to help each other. We have to help each other. You're probably a conservative. I get that most of my audience is conservatarian, right? We're right leaning, quote unquote, whatever that means. Just trying to spread the truth. And we want you to be informed. We want every person around you informed. So share the show, like it, subscribe. I support your community that is supporting your ideas. So go to whotouchedit.com. Everybody's broke. I get that part. If you can't afford a shirt, that's fine. But you can damn sure afford a share and a like. That's easy. So how much do you care? Whotouchedit.com. Go check out his website. Go buy some shirts. Like, share, subscribe. RJ will be on my show frequently because he's an exceptional human being. And we need more of people like that in the limelight. Period. I love each and every one of y'all. I am going ahead and log out because I think that's a really good ending. Triple digit views. You guys are awesome. Please come back. Stay here every show because we're not here for the freaking clicks and views. We want desperately for Americans to understand the truth and to really have a good foundation in which they can battle this. It's not going to work if we don't tell them how. It's not going to work if we don't convince them that they've been NPCs. You have to try, or, it's just not going to work. Period. Checking comments one last time. It's just funny. Go to the comment section. It's hilarious. Like, absolutely hilarious. If you're not on the, apparently, like all of a sudden, the YouTube comments have spiked tremendously over the last couple of days. Incredible. Go to the YouTube comments. They're magnificent. That's awesome. I love it. Please share, like, subscribe, and go to Twitter as well, or X, and do the same thing. Outside of that, I cannot stress to you how much that I love people, and I want the best for every human being that's trying to do right. I cannot tell you how much that means to me. In Jesus' name, it means to me the most. I don't get anything out of this other than having fun. I do it for you. I could just not do this and go spend time with my kids. I got 4 of them, you know, and I do every day, all day, as much as I can. I don't, this is not something I need to do. I do it because I think it's important. I do it because I think you're freaking important. And the more knowledge you have, the better that you can make your decisions. So make good decisions. Let's move forward. Get informed. I love each and every one of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm out.